I am Terry Kay of the Jewish Grandparents Network. Thank you for joining us tonight for our session, How Grandparents Can Play with Infants and Young Grandchildren. We are thrilled that our presenter is the wonderful Dr. Betsy Diamant-Cohen. Dr. Betsy will take questions throughout, so please feel free to use the chat, write your questions there, or raise your Zoom hand. I want to say a big thank you to Sarah Reed, our JGN colleague, who is helping facilitate. Sarah, could I ask you to please share with us how to turn on captions for those of us among us who wish to use that feature? Could I turn it over to you for a moment, Sarah, please?
Yes. Hello, everybody. So if you would like to use captions, the way to do this is to click on the three dots in the lower right corner of the Zoom screen. A pop-up menu will show up and you will click captions. Then select the language that you wish the captions to be in, and it will automatically display them throughout the presentation. I'm going to just add this to chat really quickly.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great, thank you so much, Sarah. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Betsy Diamant-Cohen. Dr. Betsy is a children's librarian with a doctorate in communications design, and she brings a unique perspective on children's learning. Dr. Betsy is known for translating research into easily understandable language and matching it with activities that adults can use to build important skills in their children and grandchildren. Dr. Betsy is also the creator of the Mother Goose on the Loose literacy series. May I turn it over to you, Dr. Betsy, with all our thanks for leading us tonight.
Sure. I'd like to start out with a question of everyone here, and I'd like you to please write your answer in the chat. What is your favorite children's song or your favorite nursery rhyme? And what do you associate with that? What do you think of when you think of that song or rhyme? And just take a couple of minutes to write something, and I'm going to look at the chat and see what people are writing. Bringing Home a Baby Bumblebee. Oh, I remember that one. And the Wheels on the Bus. Bingo. Down by the Bay. That's a great Rafi song. So I see all these great songs, but okay, you're writing, you think of home. Because it freaks out your grandchildren with fee, fi, fo, fum. That's great. Yeah, these are all well-loved children's songs. And I hope that when you were thinking of it, it brought a smile on your face. Yeah, you're right. Most nursery rhymes are cruel. But we'll, if we have time, we'll talk about that. So, all right. Well, why do we remember songs from our childhood? My mom had dementia, and when we went to visit her in the nursing home, after she forgot most things, she still remembered Adon Olam because she sang it every week at shul, but she remembered the nursery rhymes. And so the common language we had was to sing the songs together. And so before I get started, I'd like to just talk a little bit about how brains work and why singing with your baby or your toddler is really, really important. So let's start the slides. And I want to just talk for a few seconds about how learning takes place. In our brain, we have a bunch of neurons. And on the left-hand side, you can see that's an immature neuron. It looks a bit like a sapling tree. And I like everyone to make your hand into a neuron. It looks like this. And if you click once more, I think you'll see a version of that hand. Great. Okay. So this top part, these are the dendrite spines. This part is the axon. This is the cell body. And down here are the roots of the neuron. And when a baby is born, there are about 100 million neurons in the brain. Now, how does learning take place? Let's say a baby is born and the doctor puts the baby on mommy's stomach and baby feels mommy's skin. There's a connection between the roots of one neuron and the dendrite spines of another. They don't actually touch each other, but there's water in the brain that conducts an electrical current called a synapse. And every time there's a synapse, the dendrite spines get a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier. So baby feels mommy's skin, ding, a synapse forms, a little thicker, a little heavier. Then baby smells mommy's smell, ding, a little thicker, a little heavier. Then baby hears mommy's voice, again, another synapse. Mommy nurses baby, baby tastes the breast milk, ding, another connection. And all of these connections grow. And when mommy says, baby, I love you, that's baby's understanding of mommy. And no one ever has the same experience exactly twice. So every time the baby has another experience with mommy, another synapse is formed. Same thing with the grandparents. Every time that baby interacts with you, there's a synapse that's forming in the brain that makes those neurons, the dendrites, a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier. And if you look onto the neuron on the right, that's a mature neuron. There have been so many connections. Look at the difference. And I think that the single neuron is like a sapling tree, and the neuron on the right, the mature neuron, is kind of like an actual a mature tree with bark and with lots and lots of branches. Okay, so we could go to the next slide. When a baby is born, the brain weighs about 25% of the adult weight. By the time the baby is 5 years old, the brain weighs 80% of the adult weight. So all of that weight gain is not because we're getting new neurons in the brain, but it's from all those synapses that make everything a little bit heavier. That's an incredible amount. Now, as you see, the way the curve kind of slacks off, we never actually stop learning. But what we're learning after the age of 5 is connecting mostly to what's already there. And that's why the experiences that young children have in the first 5 years of life are very, very important. In fact, numerous studies have been done now that we have the technology to see how the brain works, that shows that they say the architecture of the brain is formed in the earliest years of life. And this is why when we have positive interactions with our babies, it really does make a difference. Next slide. And what we know is that if children have a strong basis by the time they're 5, they enter school what they call ready to learn, and they do better in school. If they know more words, it's easier for them to learn to read. If they know how to sit and raise their hand, they're less of a behavior problem and they're able to learn more. So there are all kinds of pushes now for kids to enter school ready to learn. And because I'm a children's librarian, in the library world, our focus is on literacy. And we hired researchers and they came up with a whole plan. How can we help parents and grandparents get their children ready to learn when they enter kindergarten? And in the library world, we have this formula. It's called Every Child Ready to Read. And there are 5 practices: talk, sing, read, write, and play. But for babies, I would say it's talk, sing, share books, and play. And when you're talking, you're building their vocabulary, you're increasing their communication skills. And when you communicate, then you can solve a problem. We all know how many problems were caused when people couldn't communicate. When you sing, you're building vocabulary, and you're also breaking words into syllables. When a child learns to read, they are sounding out the word through the syllables, so it's important to be able to hear the sounds in words. When you share books joyfully, then what you're doing is you're developing what they call print motivation, a sense that books are fun. And if you think books are really fun, then when you enter school, you're going to be excited about learning to read. And playing is the way children learn best. They don't learn well when you try to tell them what to do and you try to drill them with flashcards. But if they can discover things on their own and have joyful experiences, then it makes those connections upon which later learning takes. So I actually have a song about this. and I'm going to sing it twice, and I'd like you to sing it with me the second time. But if you know it, you can sing it the first time, because really this is all you need to do to help build your grandchild's brain. So when they're 5, they can be ready to enter kindergarten, all set to go. Here we go. Talk, sing, share books, and play. Talk, sing, share books, and play. Talk, sing, share books, and play. Talk, sing, share books, and play every day. Okay, try it with me. Here we go. Talk, sing, share books, and play. Talk, sing, share books, and play. Talk, sing, share books, and play. Talk, sing, share books, and play every day. Woo! So, next slide, please. Now I just want to talk a little bit about the actual development of these kids. So sensory activities are activities that stimulate our senses, which in turn improves brain function and development. Children learn about the world around them by using their senses, and peekaboo is one of the most important games and one of the most popular games in the whole world. We hear a lot about object permanence, and that's the knowledge that objects still exist even when they can't be seen. This is actually essential to cognitive development, since only after a baby can imagine an unseen object can they remember, reason, and plan. Playing peekaboo helps babies develop important coping skills, like understanding that an object still exists even when it can't be seen. That helps children separate if they're being left at daycare or something. And it comforts them because they know, just like in peekaboo, the separation is just temporary and the adult in their life will return. So let's all, I have a song about peekaboo, and let's sing it together. Peekaboo, I see you. I see you smiling there. Peekaboo, I see you. I see you smiling there. Peekaboo. And you can see, you can play peekaboo with your hands. You can play it with a blanket. You can play it with a dish towel. You can play it in many different ways. Next slide. Although tiny babies can see, how they use their eyes develops over the first few months of their life. After birth, a tiny baby develops the ability to look at objects. At first, the baby can see objects, but will not be able to follow the movements. But as they grow, babies learn to follow objects with their eyes from side to side without moving their head. This is called directional tracking, and it's an essential skill for learning how to read. Keeping track of an object going from side to side familiarizes the brain with left to right processing, which is needed to know how to read from left to right to left or up to down if using different languages or alphabets. Babies quickly begin tracking moving objects with their eyes and moving their heads, so they enjoy watching you do finger plays, even if they can't move their fingers themselves in any set way. And you can see how their eyes are watching your fingers, and sometimes their head is moving along too. Babies marvel at the way their fingers can wiggle. So here's a great rhyme by Barbara Beggs for the littlest one called Fingers Like to Wiggle Woggle. And every time I do a song or a finger play, I'm going to do it twice. The first time you can listen, and the second time you can always repeat it with me. But if you already know it, then always do it both times. Here we go. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, fingers like to wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, way down low. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle on my knee. And let's do it quickly. Are you ready? Here we go. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, way down low. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle, wiggle, woggle. Fingers like to wiggle, woggle on my knees. So in addition to helping babies practice directional tracking, Fingers Like to Wiggle Woggle also teaches them about the concepts of high and low in terms of space and in terms of tone of voice. Next slide. Now, whether or not you can sing on key, you should sing to your child. we have all these beautiful recordings and playlists now, but the truth is, to a child, the voices of the people they love are the most beautiful sounds in the world. It doesn't matter if you have a scratchy voice. It doesn't matter if you're off key. Your voice is important to them. And so here's a really simple song, and you can do so much with it. I'm not going to repeat it twice because I'm just going to use different verses, and you can sing along with me. Please do it from the beginning. We hit the floor together. We hit the floor together. We hit the floor together because it's fun to do. We smack our knees together, smack our knees together, smack our knees together because it's fun to do. We clap our hands together, clap our hands together, clap our hands together because it's fun to do. We wiggle our fingers together, wiggle our fingers together, wiggle our fingers together because it's fun to do. We sway from side to side, we sway from side to side, we sway from side to side because it's fun to do. And we all wave hello. We all wave hello. We all wave hello because it's fun to do. So you see, I put a little syncopation there at the end to make it a bit more interesting. Next
Betsy,
slide.
may I just interrupt you for a moment?
Sure.
Sarah, you can keep the slides up to just reassure our guests, our participants, that we will send you the slides when we send our follow-up email. By tomorrow morning, we'll send you the recording, and you'll have the slides too. So no need to, take down the song lyrics.
Right. I purposely made a PowerPoint with the words to the lyrics so that you could have them afterwards. Okay. So what we know is when babies are getting anxious, if you sing a lullaby, it helps to calm them down. Something sung softly and slowly calms them. And also the rocking motion reminds them of when they were in the womb. If they can hear a heartbeat, that's even better. But unfortunately, in today's world, a lot of us have lost the language of the lullaby. A lot of the parents have, not us. I know I went into I was visiting a relative, and they put on a playlist of lullabies for their child to fall asleep and walked out of the room. And I really think that the child would have much preferred having a person they loved in the room singing with them. But some of the younger people don't know lullabies. So what we can do is we can sing lullabies so they can hear us singing it and remember them. But also, any song at all can be a lullaby as long as you sing it slowly and softly. You can sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm as a lullaby, like Old MacDonald had a farm. And over here, someone mentioned that nursery rhymes can be a bit vicious. Well, so can lullabies, but you can change the words. Like, who wants to sing about a cradle falling down? And so You Are My Sunshine. I changed the words a little bit, and I'd love it if you sing along with me for this. And I'm going to get my frog, and he's going to be my baby, and we're going to rock back and forth as we sing it. You are my sunshine, my dearest sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll always know, dear, how much I love you, and I'll hug you every day. You are my sunshine, my dearest sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll always know, dear, how much I love you, and I'll hug you every day. Lullabies are also a great way to pass on your family's traditions. Maybe you have parents or grandparents who are from the old country and they sang songs in a different language. It's a great way to continue that if you can sing that with your child. And that's a great thing that you can do as well. Next slide. Rhymes are especially important as pre-reading skills. Songs, as I said, aid in vocabulary. They break the words into sounds. It has a technical name. It's actually called phonological awareness, and it's one of the 6 skills that kids need in order to get ready to read. When reciting rhymes with babies, if possible, use a higher voice. I'm an alto, so I have difficulty with that one. And another thing is, if you can look in their eyes while you're singing, that's even better because they really crave close connections and babies love to look into your faces. Now, even if you're connecting online, studies have shown that if you are looking at the child and connecting with them, then that is as effective as if you were in the same place. Watching a video is not the same because there's not that conversational duet there. But if you're talking back and forth and singing back and forth, it's as if you're there with the baby. Okay, so the rhyme on the left is a very gentle tickle rhyme. And this one starts, you put your finger in the palm of the baby's hand or anywhere. And here we go. You move your finger in a circle. Round and round the garden goes the teddy bear. One step, two step, tick. And then on the other hand, roundabout goes the wee mouse. Up a step, up a step. Let's try it again. Round and round the garden goes the teddy bear. One step, two step, tick. And the other hand, roundabout goes the wee mouse. Up a step, up a step. Up. And another thing babies love is knee bounces. Knee bounces are when you sit on the floor, you put your legs out straight in front of you, and you put your child on your legs. Now, you don't want to do it for a newborn because they don't have those neck muscles yet. But after they're a little older, and especially if you hold their necks like this, you can put them on your outstretched legs. And if you bounce your legs up and down, they love the steady beat and they love the bouncing motion. As they get older, it gets even more fun. And typically kids giggle once they're on your knee. Now, when they're younger babies, they like to look at your face. They like to see you smiling at them. So I recommend put them on your lap facing you and again, holding their head. But when they're a little bit older, they like looking at the faces of the other babies so you can turn them facing out. And this is just a really short one. 1, 2, 3. Baby's on my knee. Rooster crows and up she goes. 1, 2, 3. Baby's on my knee. Rooster crows and over she goes. Oh, and I think Terry wrote to everyone ahead of time and said to bring 3 things with you: a colored scarf, a stuffed animal or a doll, so you can do this along with me, and something to use as a percussion instrument. It can be a maraca, it can be a homemade shaker, so whatever you have. But right now, take your babies, put them on your knees, and we're going to do the knee bounce.
Can we share our babies?
Why not? That would be fun.
Can we show them on screen?
Yeah.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Do you see them?
I can see everybody if you click on gallery view.
Ah, okay. Okay.
You're
All right,
sharing the screen so we
together.
can't see everybody.
You've got the choice in the top right corner of your Zoom screen. It says view. You could click on the word gallery. Yeah, click on the word gallery. Yeah.
Okay, let's see those babies. 1, 2, 3. Baby's on my rooster crows and up she goes. 1, 2, 3. Baby's on my knee. Rooster crows and down she goes. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Baby's on my knee. Rooster crows and over she goes. Woo! Next slide. So now that I talked a little bit about babies, let's talk about toddlers. Toddlers love to move. They learn through movement and exploration. Exercise gets glucose and oxygen to their brains, and it's important for overall health. A child who is not keen on getting exercise may be more inclined to move if it's part of a playful activity. So a good way to get them to pay attention is to sing a song that involves action, but then in the end involves sitting down. And that's what this song does. This is I'm So Glad to See You. And we start doing it by standing up. And this is going to be, I have to move my chair out of the way, and I don't even know if you could see all of me, but, well, okay. I'm so glad to see you. I almost couldn't wait. Can you clap your hands and count to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm so glad to see you. I almost couldn't wait. Can you stomp your feet and count to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm so glad to see you. I almost couldn't wait. Can you turn around and count to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm so glad to see you. I almost couldn't wait. Can you sit right down and count to 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now you have a child who's gotten their wiggles out, and maybe you'll be able to talk together for a little while. Next slide. So it's interesting. Someone mentioned the baby bumblebee. Here's another beehive rhyme. And before they can learn to write, toddlers need to be able to separate their fingers. They also enjoy a gentle tickle, which promotes bonding. So here is a beehive combines all of that together while also giving practice counting to 5 aloud and building math skills. Here is the beehive, but where are the bees? Hidden inside where nobody sees. Watch and you'll see them come out of the hive. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you give a great big tickle on the tummy. Okay, let's try it again. Here is the beehive, but where are the bees? Hidden inside where nobody sees. Watch and you'll see them come out of the hive. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next slide. I happen to love the flannel board. And when I do programs in libraries, I often use the flannel board. Now, you guys probably don't have a flannel board at home, but it's actually something that's really easy to make. You take a pizza box and you take a piece of felt. This got smushed in my suitcase last week. It used to be fine. And you just use this stuff. It's called tacky glue. Regular glue won't work to stick felt on paper or cardboard, but tacky glue will. And you can get it at any place like Target or Joann's or Michael's. And you stick the felt on to the pizza box. Now, the cool thing about felt is felt sticks to felt. And for kids, it's like magic. You're holding up the flannel board and suddenly you put a piece of felt and it sticks. And all you have to do is touch it slightly and it comes off. So especially for toddlers and babies, it's so cool. And if you want to have a visual aid, maybe if you're in touch with Zoom, this could really help too. And I find that it aids with reading because there's this thing called decoding skills, right? They see the letters and they learn that letters are part of a word. So with this, they see a picture, they see a visual representation of something, and they know what song goes along with it. So can you write in the chat, what song do you think might go along with this felt piece? Does anybody know? So if I put up this felt piece, my grandchild, yes, Wendy, Laurel, Sharon. Okay, so let's all sing the song together now that we have it up here. I had a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh, dreidel, I shall play. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel, I shall play. And if you want, you could go into the next verse. It has a lovely body with legs so short and thin, and you can act that part out. But it's really a cool prop to have. Next slide. I also recently started, because I didn't say, I'm a Jewish grandparent. I have 2 grandchildren of my own. One is 1 and one is 3.5. And so I volunteered at my shul to do Tat Shabbat once a month so I could be with them and use my flannel board. And one of the songs is about chicken soup for Shabbat. I have a felt pot and I give out felt vegetables, and we sing this song first. Take some chicken and put it in the pot. Stir it until it's nice and hot. Pour some out, and what have you got? delicious chicken soup for Shabbat. And then I walk around, give a felt piece to each kid, and they actually choose what they want. And I have some pretty weird things as well as vegetables. And they come up and put it in the pot, and we all sing about what they have. But if you don't have a felt board, you can also use a real pot. And I did that the other week, and the kids really loved it. So let's take something weird like an apple, and let's put the apple into our chicken soup, and let's sing the song together. Take an apple and put it in the pot. Stir it until it's nice and hot. Pour some out, and what have you got? Delicious chicken soup for Shabbat. Next slide. We all know typical nursery rhymes like Hickory Dickory Dock. And I just put this one on here to illustrate that there's not one way to do a rhyme. I believe that we should, delicious apple soup for Shabbat, yeah. I believe that we can not just sit and recite a rhyme, but that every time you recite a rhyme, you should do something with it, whether it's something with your fingers, maybe clap to the beat, maybe sway from side to side. But it's so enriching when we add a little bit. So if you have a little baby, for Hickory Dickory Dock, you might put the baby on your lap and do it with your fingers. Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1. Mwah! The mouse ran down. Hickory Dickory Dock. Then if they're a little older, maybe you'll do it as a knee bounce. Hickory Dickory Dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1. Mwah! The mouse ran down. Hickory Dickory Dock. And then if they're a toddler, maybe they want to act it out on their own. So you stand up and you do it. Hickory Dickory Dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1. The mouse ran down. Hickory Dickory Dock. So you see, you can take the same rhyme, and according to what your child is doing, you can tailor it to fit them at different stages. You don't have to learn 10 million rhymes. You just tailor them to the kids. Okay, you can take off the slides now because I'm going to be talking about other things. Thank you. Okay, kids love percussion instruments. And percussion instruments, if you don't have them, they're easy to make. So I have a shaker over here. It's called a chiquita because maracas are much bigger, and babies don't do well with big instruments and lots of noise. But if you don't have a maraca, shakers are really easy to make. Here, I just took a yolk and I put in some lentils, and it makes a very soft sound. It's easy to make. If you don't even want to make one, you can have a box of macaroni, and if you shake that, it makes a noise too. And it's great for keeping the beat. So then babies love bells. So I have a recommendation. Lakeshore sells these. They're called Easy Grip Jingle Bells. And they come, they're different animals, 4 different animals, 4 different colors. And they're all made in Israel. They're all made by Honer kids. And so they are called Easy Grip Jingle Bells, and they're sold at Lakeshore. You can also use rhythm sticks, although that's better for the toddlers and not for the babies. And if you try to buy them online, they're often too big for little hands. So I suggest you go to the lumber store and just get some dowels, have them cut to 6 inches each, and sand them down. And then you can tap along to music. You can do, you can make movements like that. And of course, a drum, a tambourine. I have this tambourine over here, but you could even use a book and tap on your book as a tambourine. So all of these things are great for kids. They love playing with the music. Now, if you could go to the next slide, that would be great. Here's
Betsy,
a very...
Yes. Betsy, just before Sarah shares, we have a question from Leslie. If you could recommend an audio collection of rhymes, music, and so on.
Aha, I beat you to it. At the end of this, I have a slide with resources. So one of the things that I do is I travel around the country and I train children's librarians and I do workshops for childcare providers. And because I love the flannel board so much, and I talk about how important it is, at the end, I have them choose a rhyme, choose an activity to go along with the rhyme that builds a skill, make a felt piece, and then everybody comes up and has a chance to perform their rhyme in front of the group. So they know what it's like to use the flannel board, and hopefully they'll go back and use it. About 10 years ago, I started videotaping these rhymes. I opened up a YouTube channel for Mother Goose on the Loose, and I started uploading them. And then I hired my daughter to categorize them. So one of the last slides that's in this PowerPoint gives you the URL for that YouTube page. And it also gives you another one that a lot of librarians use. So it's not just the music, but it actually shows people who are doing the activities that go along with it. It is not glitzy. It's not professional. It's just adults doing it, but it's a very good resource. We have over 1,000 songs and rhymes on it. So thank you for asking. Okay, here's a song with bells, but we can actually use it with any instrument. So I'm going to sing We Ring Our Bell Together because I have a bell. But if you want, you can sing We Shake Our Shakers Together, or We Tap Our Drum Together, or We Tap Our Sticks Together. And here we go. We ring our bells together. We ring our bells together. Ring our bells together because it's fun to do. We ring our bells together. Ring our bells together. Ring our bells together because it's fun to do. Ring them up high. Ring them down low. Ring them in the middle. Ring them to and fro. And if you want, you could say, we tap our drums together. We tap our drums together. We tap our drums together because it's fun to do. So there's that. Okay, next slide. Since we're talking about the drum, babies love to bang on things like their high chair or the table. So why not use a tambourine or drum to encourage them to bang while also giving them the opportunity to listen for the sounds and words? And so this is a thing, rum, pum, pum. This is my drum, rum, pum, pum. This is my drum. My name is Grandma. What's your name? And then you hold out the drum to the baby. Now, probably the word the baby hears the most is their own name. And so they can tap out their name, Susie. And then you give them a big smile and you say, well done, Susie. So let's try it again. Everybody, let's do it together. Bum, pum, pum. This is my drum. Bum, pum, pum. This is my drum. My name is Grandma. What's your name? My name is Elsie. Wonderful. Hi, I'm so glad that you're enjoying yourself. Okay, you can close the slides now. And I've spent a lot of time talking about rhymes and songs, but I want to take a little bit of time to talk about books too, because books are really fun. And of course, as a librarian, I have to talk about it. One of the books kids love the best are Lift the Flap books. They love, again, to them, it's like magic. Here's a book called Dear Zoo. And you say, I went to the zoo to find a pet. And then you look at what's behind it. And if they're old enough, they shout out, oh, well. And then you can say, and what sound does a lion make? Brah. And another good book, if any of you are familiar with the Spot series.
Betsy, could you show that cover again of the zoo book, please?
Yes, it's called Dear Zoo by Rod Campbell. And then there's the Spot books by Eric Hill. And again, Spot is always looking for something. And is it under the rug? No, there's an alligator under the rug. And so these kinds, any kind of Lift the Flap book is really great. Now, you might be familiar with this one, Brown Bear, What Do You See? You might have read it to your child. And you can actually do a lot with Brown Bear. You can look at the pictures and you can say, what color is the bear? Oh, he's brown. What sound does he make? Grrr. Or you can make the grrr sound and then they could follow along. So you don't have to actually read the book. You can just talk about the pictures and sing about the pictures. You can also use a book, and here's another one. This is called Can You Growl Like a Bear? And it's all about the different sounds animals make. Can you trumpet like an elephant? So here they're learning the vocabulary for what the animals do, but you're also having the fun of making the sounds like woo. And this one, The Very Busy Spider, is actually a book a lot of people are familiar with, but it's a bit complicated. So for really little kids, I don't recommend that you read it out loud. I recommend that you sing a song about it. So I went to visit the farm one day. I saw a dog along the way. And what do you think the dog did say? Woof, woof,
Woof,
woof, woof,
woof.
woof.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is it important for children to learn to say to do animal sounds? It's not. I mean, I can't see the logic in it.
Oh, well, when they go to kindergarten, they're expected to know the sounds that the animals make. And it's interesting because in different countries, animals make different sounds. Like in Israel, the dog says hav hav. And here in America, the dog says woof woof. But it's one of those things, just like they're supposed to know to be able to recognize letters and recognize shapes, they're also expected to know the sounds the animals make. Now, the other thing is, it's easy for them. When I do this, I use this book in my Mother Goose programs, and I use it on a weekly basis. So every week I'm showing the picture of the animal and singing the song about it. So week after week, the kids see the sheep and they go bah, or they see the cow and they go moo. And it's really fascinating because we have kids under the age of 2, and I start singing the song. I hold up the picture of the cow, and the child recognizes the picture and goes, they can make that sound even before they can talk. And so for them, it's really empowering. They see the picture, they know what to expect, and they know exactly what to do. It doesn't require being able to read. And the parent or the adult looks at the child and they think their child's a genius because they see the cow and they're going, So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
And also it's imitation. I mean, little babies, when they're learning to talk, they need to imitate first. Action, sounds, those are all very important in language development.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So here's a book, Freight Train. And with this one, I just like to add in the train sounds. I say, what sound does a train make? And we all go chug, 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 toot, toot. And then after every page, I have the kids make the sound. So freight train is moving, chug, 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 toot, toot. And then you can actually follow that with a rhyme like the little train went up the track, it went toot, toot, and then it ran back. There are so many other books, and we're limited in time, but I did bring a whole bunch to quickly show you because kids are needing to be calm these days. There's a whole series of books for little kids, Yoga Bug and Calm Bunny, that are for very young children, talking about how to sit, how to take a breath, how to relax. There's a series that's old, it's out of print, but I love it. You can get it on Amazon, and it's Motown Magic. They take those songs that we know, like I'll Be There by the Jackson 5, and How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. And this one is Sugar Pie Honey Bunch and The Way You Do the Things You Do. These are all books about love and expressing love. And they have wonderful, wonderful pictures of babies. And it's fun for us to sing those songs that were popular when we were teenagers. So I highly recommend it. Even though they're out of print, they're not too expensive. There's another kind of book, and it's called Indestructibles. These books are actually made out of Tyvek, the stuff that they use on construction site. And it's impossible to rip. And it's also, you can get it wet. You can use a wipe on it if you don't like germs. And I particularly like this book. It's called Wiggle March because it has no words whatsoever. So you don't have to get caught up in reading. You can sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. You can make up your own story. One day, the cow was going out for a walk and he bumped into the pony. So that's a good one. If you have a really little child, there's something called Baby Talk. And this is a great book because it has rhymes, which help the kids have patterns. It expresses love and it shows photographs of the adult and the child. There are concept books with big and little. There are books that show nature. So here's one, and you can look at the flower. This is a book about let's go to the park. You can have a counting book like 5 Little Monkeys, and you might know that rhyme, 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed, and you can count them as you go if you want them to do numbers. You can also do a book for them to fill in. So here's a book, A Hunting We Will Go. Oh, a hunting we will go, a hunting we will go. We'll catch a fox and put him in a, what are they putting him in? A box. And then we'll let him go. So you let the kids fill in the rhyming word. Now, when babies are first born, they don't see colors, they see contrast. And that's why black and white books are recommended for little kids. And again, if you have this book, you can read it if you want, but you can just sing "You Are My Sunshine" while pointing out the sun and talking about it. And then another kind of book is books with flaps. These are great because the regular lift the flap books you don't want to give to the child to touch because they can rip it and ruin it. Kids 2 and under cannot be trusted to keep a book in good shape, but cardboard books are great. They can dribble on them, they can bite them, and you can disinfect it easily. And they now have these cardboard books with flaps that come out. And these titles I'm using are ones that I like, but if you go to any bookstore or even the public library, a lot of them have these things that you can look at. There are books that have sounds. If you like making sound, if your child likes making sounds, you can get a book that has sounds for them to join in. And let me see what else I have. There's the Facebook. And in this one, I use it at my Tat Shabbat sometimes. And we just imitate the expressions on the face. Kids really love it. And if you want, you can even name the expression that they're using. And later on, if they need to express how they're feeling, that's a good way. I found this book, The Jewish Mother Goose. I wouldn't use it with little kids, but it's funny for us adults. And this book, Happy Baby, little babies have something called tummy time when they're supposed to go on their tummies and look up to build their neck muscles and their core muscles. And so this book folds out. These are called tummy time books. And it even has a mirror in it. And so the baby can look at it. And it's a great way. They normally don't like being on their stomachs so much, but that way they're kind of entertained and you can talk to them while they're doing it. And if you use sign language, there's a wonderful children's librarian named Kathy McMillan who's published a number of books. And this one has the signs in it for different events in a child's life. And it's American Sign Language. There's also one of my favorites. This is by Alana Frankel. And at one point, it was the most translated book internationally. It's Once Upon a Potty. If you're doing potty training, it's all about Naphtali. And in Hebrew, it's called Sir HaSirim, which is a takeoff on Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs. It's the pot of pots. But it's really a great book to read if a child is potty training. They also have books that are songs. So Down by the Station, you can sing the song Down by the Station while you're looking at the illustrations. And then there are fun books. Here's a book about noodles. And these are also like magic for the kids if you have a book that you can lift the flap. But the problem with these using 2 and unders is you have to keep it away from them. So that's good if you're video chatting with your grandchild, but you're not actually in person with them. And then they love seeing things that they recognize. So here's a book with toys and you can show it and they can call out the answer. And then you can actually talk to them about it and ask questions. Which toy is your favorite? Why do you like this? So these are all ways, besides just reading a book aloud, that you can use books to really have a lot of fun with your kids and to play with them. Now let's go back to the next slide.
Betsy, we have a question from Leslie. Leslie, would you like to unmute and ask?
Sure. Thank you for taking my question. This may be coming at the end of your seminar, but I wondered if you include a list of Jewish books for this age range, in addition to the ones that you've shared.
I don't have a lot of them, but if you would like, I can make a list of all the books that I've shown you, and maybe I can make an extra slide with the book titles on it, and then we can send it out to you. But that could be something for another time. Thank you. Okay, so let me see what's the next slide. Is that the scarves? We haven't used our scarves yet. Oh, that's the free. Okay, so let's take out our scarf. And freeze games are great because they teach kids to practice stopping. And stopping is something they need to learn. So let's do the waving song. And we wave and we wave and we stop. We wave and we wave and we stop. We wave and we wave and we wave and we wave. We wave and we wave and we stop. And of course, you can do anything else with that song as well. I love colored scarves. They're really great for using the imagination. So let's go to the next one. Next slide. And here's another one. Using imagination. Wind, oh wind, oh wind, I say, what are you blowing away today? Scarves, oh scarves, I say, I am blowing the scarves away. Put your scarf in front of your mouth, and on the count of 3, let's blow and let go. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it again. Wind, oh wind, I say, what are you blowing away today? Scarves, oh scarves, I say, I am blowing the scarves away. 1, 2, 3. Next slide. So another one is you can take the scarves and throw them, scrunch them up into a ball, make them very, very small. On the count of 3, we're going to throw them up in the air and see all the beautiful colors coming down. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoop! And kids love seeing the scarves go up. Scrunch them up into a ball, make them very, very small. 1, 2, 3. Whoop! And very important, if you're going to use props with your grandchildren, and if you're on site, I have a canvas bag, and I have one for my bells, one for my rhythm sticks, and one for my scarves. And it's easy. You can just hang it on a coat rack. And then when it's time to get them back, sometimes kids don't like giving things back. You just sing a very simple cleanup song. Scarves away, put your scarves away today. And they put their scarves in the bag. So let's try that. Scarves away, put your scarves away today. Next slide. And here I was going to do Brown Bear, and sing it to you to the tune of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So we can do that really. We could just sing the first 2 pages. Brown bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. Red bird, what do you see? I see a yellow duck looking at me. You never know. You wouldn't think of it. I had to see someone else do that. And then I realized it's a great song to sing. And then you can also say, can we act like a bear? Make your hands into bear claws. Can you growl like a bear? Grrr. And you can even do the bear hokey pokey. You put your bear paw in, you put your bear paw out, you put your bear paw in, and you shake it all about. You growl the hokey pokey, so you can do lots of creative things. Next slide, please. And here's the one I already showed you. I went to visit the farm one day. Now you have the lyrics for it. Next slide. Oh, and this one with the Itsy Bitsy Spider. So this is one where I sing the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and then I use a puppet. And this is the great big spider. Oh, I'm so sad. You're always singing about my brother, the Itsy Bitsy Spider, and you never sing about me. I'm so sad. I'm gonna cry. We can sing about you. You can. Can you use your deep voices and your big hand movements? I think we can. Come on, let's make him happy. Let's do that. So now everyone put out your big hands and your deep voices, and here we go. The great big spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the great big spider went up the spout again. Oh, that is so wonderful. You sang a song. I don't feel left out anymore. Thank you. Thank you. There's nothing kids love better than spider kisses. And here we've added a little bit to the song. So not only are they doing the different movements, but they're learning that if something is wrong, you say something. They're learning if something is wrong, you tell the adult and the adult will listen. And they're also learning, doesn't it feel good if someone tells you something is wrong, to try to help out? And it feels really great when you've made them happy again. So by adding this little adaptation, we're actually making this song really rich and helping to build social and emotional skills. Okay, next slide.
Betsy, we have 4 minutes left. So I'm wondering if we could see if our guests have any questions for the last 4 minutes. Might that be
Okay, I would like
possible?
to just then skip to the page with the resources.
Great, thank you.
Oh, is that the next page? Okay. So here's the YouTube channel. That's my YouTube channel. And if you go on there, yeah, you can skip this page. This is a resource for you if you're looking for games to play. And over here is my YouTube channel. And I have all the different categories in which we have the songs and the rhymes on there. So you can use that as well. Okay, I'm open for questions.
I have a question. It's Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
First of all, thank you for bringing all these resources and so much fun. Makes me feel like I want to be 6 months old again.
Yay.
I wanted to ask you, what's the research say about the evidence of screen time on infant brain development?
Well, you know, the American Pediatric Association recommends that children under the age of 2 should not have any screen time. And the studies are coming out, like they find even reading a book with a child is better than when you sit with, it used to be if you have the screen and you're with the child, like you have the iPad, then it's joint engagement. And so it's a better thing. But they've also found that when you're sharing a digital book, it's not as good as when you're sharing a book because the kid gets distracted. And so the recommendation is if you can avoid screen time under the age of 2, you should. It's very hard in today's world.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Laurel, you can go ahead and unmute. Thanks. Unmute.
Yes, I know some months ago, my granddaughter's babysitter had Alexa playing some songs that was a compilation of songs I used to sing with my daughter, like from Sharon Lois and Bram and Rafi, etc. Do you know any interesting compilations like that you can sing along, with your grandchild while it's also playing?
I mean, if it's songs that we knew back then, I would just say it by the people who sang the songs. I don't know of a specific playlist, but you can probably make your own. And maybe people here know a playlist. And if you do, please share your knowledge, write it in the chat, and we'd all benefit from that.
Are there any other questions in the last 1 more minute that we have?
Can I just make a comment, not a question?
Please, please.
First of all, Betsy, hi, it's Cheryl Cooper.
Hi, Cheryl.
This was
And her daughter is PJ Library.
Well, that's what I was going to do, make a shameless plug in response to the person who asked about Jewish books. That, I mean, all of Betsy's ideas are amazing, and we can't wait to use them with our grandchildren. But for those people who are looking specifically for Jewish-themed books, PJ Library does mail free age-appropriate books with Jewish themes to anybody. And you as grandparents can sign up. You can have the books mailed to your house. You put in the child's birth date, and when the child is 6 months old, you get a book for a 6-month-old. And it happens every single month. And when the child is 3 and 4, it goes up to age 8. And every month you get a Jewish themed book that's appropriate for your child's age. And we have found it to be a wonderful resource with our grandchildren.
There's a great book called Tea with Zadie about a girl who has tea with her grandfather. And at the very end, you find out they've done it online. I wanted to use it tonight. I couldn't find it, but it's a PJ Library book.
Great, thank you. We are going to sign off with enormous thanks to Dr. Betsy Diamant-Cohen for sharing. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us and the joy of your work, the joy and passion. You're just a great role model for us. Friends, tomorrow we will send you the recording. It'll go to everybody who registered because some of our friends couldn't make it tonight. We will also include a link to the slides. Betsy, if I could trouble you to create one more slide with the bibliography, that would be fantastic, and we can add it and send it out tomorrow morning. That would be great. So to all of you, thank you for joining us. We wish you a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.